well, let's proceed with the second curious fact. And it says that Indonesia is the only place on Earth where you can see the Komodo dragon in its natural wild status. Have you seen it?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I've been to Labuan Bajo, which is the port near Komodo Island, 3 times
Okay.
already. And I went there the first time a long, long time ago before it got uh, more visitors. And I feel like, yeah, it's such a beautiful place. Not only beautiful place, but when I go there, when I go to the Komodo Island, I feel like I'm in Jurassic World. I feel like I'm in a movie, and it's so amazing to see them in person because you feel the fragility of life as if you when you have like this dragon, this
Yeah.
like a dinosaur in front of you. So it's such an interesting, amazing experience, and I would recommend anyone who wants an adventure to go to this island, this Komodo Island. But there's also
Wow.
a couple of different islands that have these Komodo dragons, and it's all in NTT in Labuan Bajo, Flores. Yeah, in the islands
Okay.
near
Yeah,
Labuan Bajo.
I read that you can find it. It only exists in 5 islands, if I'm not wrong. There will be
Mm-hmm.
Padar, Gilimotang, Flores, Rinca, and naturally Komodo. I did my
Yes,
homework.
it's very, very fun to see the Komodo dragons. And
Great.
I would say
Yeah,
anyone who travels to Indonesia must go to Labuan Bajo because it's also one of the priority destinations that the government is trying to promote apart from, our very famous Bali.
okay. Yeah, the most famous of all. Yeah,
Yeah, would you
everyone
like
knows about Valley.
yeah, would you ever like to go to Komodo Dragon? Let me know.
I would like to. I would love to. I mean, it's also kind of scary, but I like those adventures. Yeah, more than the typical destinations. I like to find out those places that have this kind of
Yeah.
curiosities. Yeah, great.
Maybe
Well,
maybe it's
let's put it
just
on the list.
me.
Yeah.
Let's put it on the list. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't find it terrifying. It was definitely like, oh, interesting, like curious, and then a little bit scary when they try to move or when you see like signs of them trying to attack you. But you're with a guide, and this whole trip is very,
Exactly.
very safe. They know
Exactly,
what they're
because
doing, so
if they take you there, it's because they know what they're doing, precisely what you're saying. Yeah. So no, I would be safe. I will trust them and you. So
yeah.
we can do it. Then on the third place,
Okay.
I found that another curiosity about Indonesia is that its capital, Jakarta, is the most Instagram city in Asia, and it's number 8 in the whole world. The sprawling metropolis is home to more than 9 million people, and it offers an abundance of photographic material that was clearly evident when Instagram revealed in 2017 that Jakarta is the number 1 city in Asia that is most often geotagged, so that they use like the tag to
Wow.
post the pictures about your city.
Well, I'm in a way not surprised, but thank you so much for sharing this information. Actually, I just found out about this. But I'm not surprised again. Indonesia has such a big population, especially in Jakarta. We are the fourth most populated country in the world. So, of course, a lot of people will be tagging Jakarta as most Indonesians live here on Instagram.
Great.
And you know what?
Yeah, and
Sorry.
no,
Yeah,
no,
I
no.
mean,
Go
a
ahead.
lot of people go to Bali when they come to visit Indonesia, but Jakarta has a lot of interesting culture that you can see, a lot of interesting history here that I would definitely recommend people to come and visit
Okay.
Jakarta.
Great, 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 great. So fascinating. And now on the fourth, it says that the official language is Indonesian, which comes from Malay. However, it is a place rich in languages with more than 100 different dialects. Some islands have their own slang, just as Javanese, Sudanese, Musi, or Balinese.
Yes, we have so many languages. I would say languages and dialects combined, almost 800. That is why we are so rich in our culture. We're so diverse. Um, but we all commonly speak Indonesian, which is a
Indonesian.
language created to unite the whole nation. And it's a
Great.
combination of Malay, we have some Portuguese in there, we have some Dutch
Ah,
words. So it's, yeah, it's very interesting. It's quite a new language if you compare it to Latin, for example, of course. But
okay.
it's quite easy to learn if you want, if you're ever interested to learn
Yeah.
Indonesian. Yes.
I love languages. I love languages. I find them so interesting. Mostly because I believe they give you the chance to get to know better a culture. And something when I studied in Italy, you must have lived it too because you studied there. I found out that they also have their own slangs, their own dialects on
Yes.
each
Yeah.
region. And that was incredible. But of course they are all united by Italian. And when I started to learn Italian, I got the chance to learn a lot more about their own culture because Italians, particularly, they have a lot of gesticulation. So you need to understand what they are saying to understand the context of things, and then also get to know what do they mean by using the hands. It's so fun, but it's also kind of difficult if you
Mhm.
don't get submerged into the whole culture. So I was supposed to study in English, and then my career was changed to Italian. So I had to learn it, like, even if
Yeah.
I wanted or not.
Yes.
And it was great because I love languages, but then I felt like if I had done it in English, it wouldn't have been the same
No.
experience at all.
I absolutely agree. One thing I tell people when they move abroad to a country that speaks a different language than English, learn the language at least a little bit so that you can know the people, you can be integrated into the community easily. And
Exactly.
I'm very fascinated about languages too. A fun fact about Indonesia is that most people here born speaking two languages, Indonesian and whatever language that they're from. So for example, I'm from Bali. I speak Balinese to
Okay.
my dad. I speak Indonesian at school, but also because my mom is Australian, I also grew up speaking in English. And
Great.
yeah, and when I was in Italy, I learned the language there. I regretted not learning beforehand, but when I was a child, my dad handed to me a Spanish dictionary. So I think my love
Oh,
for languages started from an early age. And I also studied French in high school a little bit. So when I moved to Italy, even though I didn't speak any language, I was able to pick it up really quickly. I'm sure you also picked it up very, very
yeah.
quickly. Um,
Yeah, because it's so
and
similar to Spanish. Well, so we also share this passion about languages. That's
Yeah,
great.
and it makes a world of difference once you try to understand someone's language, even just a little bit, because you will understand the
Totally.
culture, the jokes, the humor a little bit better,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to connect more emotionally.
Yeah,
And you know what?
absolutely.
I actually traveled to America alone. I had a lot of friends from
Which
South
cities did you
America.
visit?
I went to Peru
Which
and
countries did you
Chile.
visit? Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And I'm also fascinated that you have a lot of different ways of saying things in Spanish. So, for example, in Peru, I think avocado, the way they say avocado is palta.
Yeah, la palta. In Peru and in Chile, la palta.
Yeah.
It's palta.
And in
La palta.
Venezuela, la palta.
We call it aguacate.
Aguacate. See, like it's very
Aguacate.
interesting for me to learn all these different words and the way you
Yeah.
say things.
Let's say it's the same root of the language, but there are so many different ways of speaking it. And we also have pretty different words to name the fruits, for example, and it varies around the whole Latin America. So it's really fun. You need to come back and visit Venezuela.
Yeah. And when you're with me, I'm sure I'm gonna ask you all the time, how do you say this in Spanish? How do you say this in Spanish?
Great. And I would love to learn in the Indonesian too. So get ready. We can translate each other.
Yes.
Great.